In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
All right, everybody, here we are, the last day of SHOT Show. Media room is emptying out, and the last people that are here on the floor are myself. And if you don't know this guy, well, you better turn on the tube and figure this out. Somebody I have nothing but the highest amount of respect for, Joel Persinger, Gun Guy TV. Joel, thank you so much for being
on. It's day 4 and I'm half dead.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
He's walked probably many more miles on this show than I have, and God knows you've been here a lot more than I have.
Well, you know what I've discovered? I'm an old fat guy. So if I just lean forward and stick a foot out, my weight carries me forward, and I don't have to take much effort. I just fall forward into the next step as I go.
You and I are about the same size.
We're about the same size. Yeah, we're about the same size. That's true.
Yeah, you wear your grade down here, I wear it up here. That's about the only difference.
Well, actually, I wear it up here, too. I'm just covering it up. That's all. Put on the ball cap doesn't show my, I'm working hard at covering up these little bald spots right here.
Well, I don't care what color it goes as long as it stays there.
That's it. Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. It's the Italian thing. I got the same thing going on. I get it.
Well, just
don't
to give
mind me, I'm punchy at this point. Yeah. It's all my fault.
Yeah, if you don't know what we've been through. But over the years that I've been watching all of my favorite on-air celebrity gun channels, Joel has probably run one of the best channels that I've watched. I've gotten nothing but great advice. He's been an inspiration to myself as far as not only how I present a review video, but in my teaching methods, because his word to me is gospel. And I appreciate a lot of what you do.
I'm getting out the $100 bill now. Because and, I don't think I have a $100 bill. If I do.
No, not after this. But when we knew that we had the opportunity to sit down with Joel and get his impression of what SHOT Show was going to be, I wanted to know exactly what he thought of what this experience was like, so he can give you kind of the impression of what he liked, what he didn't, and what he expected of this place. So, Joel, what do you think happened here?
Well, as you and I've talked before, our perspective at Gun Guy TV on what we do at the show is a little different than a lot of folks that cover it. It's not good or bad or better or worse. It's just different. A lot of folks come and they cover the show and they cover things that people are interested in. They cover the new products by one manufacturer or another. They'll go to the various booths and cover those products and talk about what ever new thing may be coming out. What you discover, I think this is my 10th SHOT Show, and what you discover if you've been here a few times is that there's a percentage of those products that'll actually last. And there's a lot of them, they're kind of gimmicky, but they're kind of cool. And that's just not what we do, because it's done by so many different outlets, whether it's print or bloggers or YouTubers or whatever the media outlet may be, that a lot of times we don't feel like we're adding any value by covering the same thing everyone else is covering. And a lot of it, too, is that Gun Guy TV is sort of morphed into a place where people find information. Like you said, they find information about what's going on with the Second Amendment and what's happening, particularly in our state of California, but across the country as well, because I'm from the People's Socialist Republic of California, and you're exactly in the opposite end of the country in New York. So,
and I know that exactly whatever happens in California, New York is going to follow suit, or whatever happens in New York, California is going to follow suit. There's got to be something in the water. We're not exactly sure what it is, but
we tend to affect or infect the rest of the nation, that's for sure. So that's basically what we look at. We'll cover the show and take images and that kind of stuff and do a little video and like that. But a lot of what we try to do is develop relationships like you and I have and are developing. We spend time with various Yeah, it's going off over there, I think. We
spend show backstage noise.
Well, we're in the press room where everybody's pooped and like that. We spend time trying to figure out how we can build relationships with manufacturers so we can bring information about new products and that kind of stuff. But also we spend time working with advocate organizations like yours and others so that we can also talk about what's new with regard to the law, what new cases are in court, what different organizations are doing to not only defend the Second Amendment or other rights, but certainly Second Amendment, which is what our focus is, in court and in the legislature and so on. And at the same time, defend not just the Second Amendment, but the culture of shooting. Because what we discover now is like a lot of what you're doing with this event that you're planning, a couple of events you're planning, is working on building the culture back again.
Right.
You know, when I was a kid, I'm in my 60s. When I was a kid, I grew up my dad was a deputy sheriff. I hunted a lot. I went shooting a lot. I think I started shooting at 5. My son, whom you can't see on the screen, who's over here. Lean in, Nick. Go ahead. Go ahead. Lean in. Yeah, you got to go way over here. You got him
Nick is a little tired, too.
Nick's pooped, too. You know, Nick started shooting when he was 5. You know, we started our kids out young. But that's not necessarily common anymore. And when you have folks like Michael Bloomberg, and in our state, Gavin Newsom, I call him Gavin Nuisance for a reason,
Yes.
who have stated that their goal is to attack and destroy the culture of shooting, we want to get together with organizations like yours, which is focused on not only saving the culture of shooting, but at the same time enhancing it, getting kids out, letting them, you know, shoot and have fun. And these are the kind of relationships we want to build, because then I'm of the opinion, and I guess you'll have to tell me in comments and whatever whether I'm right, but I'm of the opinion that as we do that, we bring more value to the Second Amendment community, if you want to call it that, by doing that, and that's more additive than for us to simply cover what's new as everyone has already done. Because you can get that, as Nick says, you can go on Google and get that information 50 different places or 100 different places, but you can't necessarily get information from Liberty First Foundation, or because we're having this conversation, or from the California Rifle and Pistol Association in our state, or whatever, or Gun Owners of America, or whatever, that you might be able to get on Gun Guy TV, because we spend time with those people rather than going from booth to booth focusing on the products. So when you ask me how my show went very well. I'm sitting here spending some time with you. So we're building, this is our goal, is to come and build these kind of relationships. We got together with Rick Travis at CRPA. We got together with Sam Paredes at Gun Owners of California. We got together, you know, unfortunately, I was mentioning to you earlier that Alan Gottlieb and I from SAF didn't get a chance to connect, although we were kind of doing this. And at the same time, we had a great time getting together with the folks at CMMG and at Nikon and at Sun over at Franklin Armory, and we spent a lot of time building those connections again. What we didn't do is really get into detail about what they're doing new, because guess what? They're going to send it to us, and then we'll review it when it gets there. So for us, this is really a relationship-building show, and I've been very long-winded about it. I apologize, but that's really sort of our focus, is building those relationships so that at the end of the day, we're doing the most we can to be great advocates for the Second Amendment. Because, you know, as you know, my son does not make a living on Gun Guy TV. He's an electrician.
Right.
And I don't make a living doing this. That's not the focus. Whether it costs me money or makes money is not the issue. We own Practical Defense Systems, and we do very well. Gun Guy TV is a labor of love because we care about the Second Amendment. We're trying to be one more advocate for it. So the more we can focus on that and providing the information that our viewers need and listeners need, whether it's the audio podcast or the videos, that's really what we focus on over here. So bottom line, we had a great show. Now you know what we were focused on when we did it. And now you know why, too. I think this helps when you go to Gun Guy TV during SHOT Show and you don't see a lot of videos on what the latest products were that are coming out, because that's not what we do. William at the Daily Shooter, also in California, does a great job at that. You know, the gun collective does a lot of that. Military Arms Channel. These guys, that's what they do, and they do it very, very well. There's no reason for us to try to do it. They already do it. So we're doing this instead.
Yeah, how many times can you review the same exact gun? You know, we picked out a couple of obscure ones for people to see, things that people didn't necessarily take notice of.
Right.
And a couple of ones that were more popular requests, but everything that we checked out was something that one of our members asked, hey, can you go over to this booth and look at this? I'm really interested in that product. We could have went the conventional route. You'll notice that a lot of the big names we didn't hit, you know, with any of any of our reviews. But most of the interviews that we've done were mostly people trying to get a little bit of backstory about the company, find out where the passions of the owners and the employees are, and you know, just to talk to some of the people. The guns are only part of the Second Amendment. What makes the Second Amendment is the people who practice it and who support it. That's the foundation of it, is the people, the relationships that you build. The gun itself is ubiquitous. Every gun does the same thing for one reason or another, despite whatever the design or manufacturer be. It's the people that make the Second Amendment strong. And that's why developing the relationships is important. And,
Yeah.
following you for as long as I have, the only thing I have to do is work on my radio voice, because this man's voice is legendary.
Well, I don't know about that, but I did. I spent 20 years in broadcasting, so it kind of comes with the package. But one of the things I do love about what you're doing, honestly, Frank, is that, as we were discussing earlier, I think sometimes people forget that the Bill of Rights is a collection of statements, basically, to guarantee rights that God gave us. Now, you can say that we have as natural citizens, whatever your beliefs are. I'm a Christian, so I'm going to throw God in there because I believe in him and I believe he gave us these rights. We have the right to speak our mind. We have the right to believe as we wish to believe. We have the right to assemble and gather as we wish to gather, all in the First Amendment. We have the right to keep and bear arms so that we can defend ourselves against criminals. If you think about guns, were designed to essentially do two things: feed us when we're hungry and protect us when somebody tries to hurt us. That's what they're for. Now, we use them for competition and sports and other things, but their original intent was eat. This helps me eat, and it helps keep me safe, and that's what they're for. Even the Third Amendment we don't talk about very much, which guarantees our right against having the government garrison troops in our houses, which at the time of the Constitution was a big deal, because that's exactly what the British government was doing, was taking over homes and stuffing troops in them, and against the will of the homeowners. The Fourth Amendment, which guarantees our right against unlawful search and seizure. The Fifth Amendment, which guarantees our right against self-incrimination and other rights in there too. The Sixth Amendment, which says that we have the right to have legal counsel during the questioning involving any criminal investigation. And these rights also guarantee us due process and these other things. I mean, I'm just numbering 6. Yes, I've read the Constitution.
There
But
are
when I was a boy,
more.
there are a few more. But when I was a boy, we studied the Constitution, and I was actually made to remember and memorize the preamble to the Constitution in school, something we don't do anymore, unfortunately. But as you look at those rights, what you discover is that no one stands on its own. They're a mosaic of rights. They're like different bricks in a building, and they hold each other together. If we try to remove one, the rest begins to fall apart. And I think that's the part that people don't understand, that we try at Gun Guy TV to help them understand, which is the Second Amendment is part and parcel of those rights. We can't pick it out and cherry pick which ones we like and which ones we don't. If we do that, the entire building collapses. We have to protect them all. And that's one of the things I love about what you do is, your approach is, if it's a First Amendment violation, we're going to address that. If it's a Fourth Amendment violation, we can do something, we're going to address that. If it's a Second Amendment violation, we can address that. We're about liberty first.
Exactly.
Which is extremely cool, and I've really enjoyed the conversations we've had as a result. Because obviously we're about the Second Amendment.
Right.
That's our thing. We're also very, very knowledgeable about the fact that without the other rights, we're not free. We're not free. We can't focus on just the Second Amendment and forget all the other ones. And I appreciate the work that you do to defend them. I think it's exciting.
We're only here representing the Liberty First Foundation. What I do with the organization is just a small part of what a tremendous team of talented individuals has put together over a period of time. Countless thousands upon thousands of hours have been spent. And all we're trying to do is engage people, establish relationships and get people motivated to get out there and actually do something more than sit at the keyboard and complain about groups not protecting their rights. Our rights are there so not only they can protect you, but you have an equal responsibility in getting out there and defending your own rights. Because if you're not doing it, you can't rely on somebody else. I can't rely on Joel, even as lovely as he speaks and as passionately as he is. I can't rely on you to fight that fight if I'm not willing to go out there and march myself.
It's kind of like having kids. Do you know that? My wife and I talked about having kids for the longest time, and then we realized that's not how you have them. You have to actually take some action, and then one day you have some children, right? Yeah. You consider, Nick, you can talk about having them all you want to. You can discuss it, you can plan it, but if you don't actually take some action, you're never going to have the kids. This is the same. We can talk about it. We can complain about it. We can be keyboard warriors. We can rag on things. We can do all that. But you know what? There's we talked about how many organizations you and I are members of, right? Yeah. I mean, if I start listing them, I realize, oh my gosh, how much money have I contributed to this, right? Because you're a life member. I'm a life member of this, and this. Gene's over here. I have to, I get it. But that's part of taking action. And I think one of the things we don't do very well as gun owners is sometimes we don't want to be joiners. I'm not a joiner. I'm kind of on my own, and I do it myself. Well, it simply doesn't work that way. We can talk a lot. We've got to take action. Otherwise, because I'll tell you, the opposition is very organized.
Yeah, and they're very, very motivated. And unlike, when it comes to the opposition, they write that check, but they hand deliver it.
Yeah.
With a big picket sign and a silly looking hat. And they get in people's faces and they say, we want those people disarmed. And we write a check and we'll sit at a keyboard. If we're not active, we're behind the eight ball. We have to get ahead of the curve, start being proactive, and start engaging in things. That's why we're establishing the National Range Day for 2019. Because if we can't get you to a rally, well, at least we're going to get you to a range. And we're going to get you to go out there and do something that you already say that you love, but now you're going to do it for a good cause other than just trying to hit some steel with a round. We want you to get out there and show that the silent majority is not only not so silent, but we know how to ring some steel, and we know that we're pretty well armed. So,
well, here's the other thing: is people think we're silent, and they don't think we're the majority.
Yeah.
And we are too silent, and that's true. The idea that we're not the majority is by far an incredible falsehood. We absolutely are. And if we were less silent and more vocal and more organized, we'd bowl over all the opposition. I mean, it's not hard to do if we actually come together and work at it. If we don't come together and work at it, that's when we get creamed, and we're getting creamed a lot because we're all, we're doing this or focused on our day-to-day living, and we're not realizing that while we're focused on our day-to-day living, our rights are being very, very rapidly taken away from us.
And for us, it's never been just a matter of defeating the opposition. For us, it's been a matter of trying to educate the opposition. We want to bring people into the camp. We want to let people know how the Second Amendment affects their everyday life. And once people actually see how important it can be to them, even if it's not something that they practice every day, it's something that plays a part in their everyday life. And the more they realize that just how safe they actually are, when they're in the company of somebody who is an active Second Amendment practitioner, they might start to appreciate it a little bit more. And they might want to become interested enough that they, too, might want to join the ranks. And if we can grow people by educating them, that's what we have to start doing.
One of the things that Rick Travis at CRPA said the other day when we were talking, which I hadn't heard anybody articulate before, I don't think. Or if I did, I forgot about it. I am an old guy. But this I thought was really important, and you just touched on it. And that is that really, if you look at the polling that some of these organizations do, there's a small group of people who are passionately against us. They're passionately against us. That's their focus. It's almost like a religion with them. They're passionately against us. Then there's those of us that work to defend the liberty. And the majority of people are just kind of watching the media and being moved one way or the other with whatever way the wind is blowing. They really aren't very well informed, and they really don't know. Part of our job, part of your job, honestly, and maybe it's by one person at a time. It may be that you got a friend who falls in that bucket. Part of our job is to help them learn. The things I rattled off. Okay, I rattled off these amendments, right? I defy you to find a person on the street that can do that. And it's okay that they can't. I think sometimes we get angry because these people don't know, and you shouldn't get angry at. We shouldn't get angry at an individual who simply doesn't know. What we do then is we have an opportunity to help them discover that. When they discover, they may not know what the buzzwords are. They don't know what the First Amendment is, the Second Amendment. But what they will find is these are rights you currently enjoy. Do you really currently enjoy the right to say what you want to say? Do you currently enjoy the right to believe or not believe as you wish? Do you currently enjoy the right to have some privacy? And do you currently enjoy the fact that the police can't come just bash in your house and search your house at any time they want, like they can in other countries? If you enjoy those things, well, guess what? Those are rights protected by the Constitution. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're going down exactly the right path, which is taking that majority of people who are, well, people call them low information voters, and I think that's rather demeaning, and I hate to use that term, but that's the general idea, is they really don't have the information.
I call them ill-informed.
There you go. Let's try to find some commonality with them and find a respectful way to provide them with the information, knowing that the vast majority of Americans are hardworking, honest, law-abiding people. And they're not stupid. And if we provide them with the information in a respectful way, they'll look at it and they'll make an informed decision rather than an uninformed one.
Right.
That's what you do.
Well, that's what we're trying to do.
Well, I don't think you are trying. I think you're doing it. We're sitting here, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, are you doing it in mass numbers? No, but I think that's the path you're going down. You're getting a signal over there.
Yeah, our director is telling us we have 5 minutes because, Joel's got to get going. We know we got to get to the airport.
This is what happens that you don't realize. There's the technical people are going. In this case, I'm an old guy, and it was a little board this big. I had to make sure Frank read it because I had no idea what it said.
It was scribbled on the screen of a
and
smartphone
I'm like, hey,
instead
Nick,
of a
can I
slate.
borrow your glasses? But he's blind in a different way, so it wouldn't have helped.
But,
well, so may I ask you? And I know this. I don't mean to take over your interview. I apologize. But would you please come on the show on Gun Guy TV?
Absolutely love the opportunity.
And let's talk about it there, and then maybe come on the audio podcast. We'll do both.
That would be an honor and a pleasure.
Well, I would love it. I would love to have you come on, and we can. Then I'll shut up, and you can ramble on and talk more about what you're doing, because I think what you're doing is fabulous.
Well,
I look forward to seeing it grow.
We're doing what we can to make a difference, and it's because of guys like you who've been doing it for a while. You've been served to inspire us. We started off our week at SHOT Show with Joel Persinger, just getting to know one another because we finally met in person, and we're ending up their week right now with them. So this could not be a better cap for this week that we've had. Joel?
I do want you to make sure that you understand I'm not only that tall.
No, he's a big guy.
And I'm not flat.
But you want his son?
he's bigger, yeah.
Nick's a little bigger
I'm a
than
big
that.
guy. Nick's a little bit bigger. Frank's a big guy, so it kind of works out. Maybe I need to eat less. I think.
Well, we could do Big Guy TV.
Ooh.
There you go.
Ooh.
The big guns. Call it the big guns.
Big guns, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, the problem is my guns are getting smaller here. As I get older, I'm getting the furniture disease. My chest is becoming my drawers, so I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Did you hear me say that? No, I would never say that in public.
We'll edit all of this out in post, I promise. Don't worry about it.
Don't do it. Leave it in there. What the heck?
All right, everybody. This is Frank from L1FUS at SHOT Show. Thank you so much for watching all of the videos this week, and just keep up to date. We're going to have all of the photos that we've taken this week, all put in a great album, so you guys can get some 47 megapixel HD pictures of what we took this week. You're really going to enjoy it. Thanks a lot.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers.
Senate rights, when politicians take from you and me the very liberties that set us free. So stand up and fight for this democracy. Is you and me, we're the founders, saddle up, let's ride. Now will the real Americans please stand up? No more hiding your face in the sand. Will the real Americans